Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the Douglas School Committee to order on February 1st, 2023. I will read the Douglas mission statement. Douglas Public School offers the diverse learning experiences that meet the academic, social, physical, and emotional needs of all of our students. We provide a safe, supportive, and challenge learning environment in which students may achieve academic success and personal growth. Decisions are made in the best interest of our students. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. I'd like to call up our student representative, Emily Ramsdale, please.
Students have had an extremely busy past few months with the beginning of the second semester and the week of midterms. Students had their midterm exams during the week of January 17th to January 20th. The second semester followed this week and began on January 24th after our snow day on the 23rd. Second quarter honor roll breakfast is Friday, February 3rd, and all students who made the honor roll will be recognized. In athletics, the winter season is beginning to wind down. The boys track team won the Dual Valley Conference Championship, with various records being broken alongside new personal records. The girls track team also performed strongly as they placed 5th in the Dual Valley Conference meet. The boys basketball team's senior night is going to be held on February 10th, and the girls basketball and cheer team's senior night is held on February 14th. We would also like to shout out Andrew Hogan, who was named October MIAA Student Athlete of the Month for his performance in golf. On January 26th, students also had a safety drill where they created barricades and simulated a lockdown. This drill went extremely well with positive feedback from the Douglas Police. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Any questions for Emily?
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you so much for coming in. Moving on to public comment. Is anyone here for public comment? Seeing that there is none, I'm going to move on to any old business, Dr. Vera?
You don't have any old business?
Moving on to new business.
All right, so today we have some representatives from our mock trial. Ms. Auger and Ms. Miller at the middle school spent October, November, December working with about 25, 30 students putting together a mock trial. I was on the jury, Mrs. Keegan was on the jury, Ms. Bergstrom was on the jury, and they presented a case and students acted as jury members, so not as jury members, as attorneys, and they went back and forth. It was a pretty cool experience. So we have 4 youngsters coming up to talk to us. We have Tia Olette, Emmeline Rodriguez, Caden Howard, and Selena Cutler to talk a little bit about their experience at the mock trial.
This past fall, 14 students and 2 teachers from the Douglas Middle School participated in Discovering Justice's mock trial program. Through the program, students were partnered with the Uxbridge District Attorney's Office in a 10-week program. Discovering Justice is a nonprofit organization that has been organizing civic education since 1998.
The mock trial program pairs middle school students with legal professionals to explore the judicial system, analyze a legal case, and practice the civic skills needed to persuasively argue cases. The semester-long program accumulates with students presenting their case before a real judge and jury of community members for mock trial. This is the second year DMS has participated, but the first year that it was able to be run in person.
The Honorable Judge Lemire presided over the final trial held at the Uxbridge Courthouse on December 13th. The case centered around the Fourth Amendment, which protects people from unreasonable searches and seizures by the government. Did a Massachusetts principal have the right to punish a student over what was found on her phone? The defense and prosecution worked hard to prove their positions with the help of Assistant District Attorney Wickstrom, Attorney Choate, Attorney Quillen, and Attorney Mark Wickstrom.
The teacher advisors were Mrs. Auger and Mrs. Miller.
They said all the students did a fabulous job representing their school in front of a courtroom of their family members. We had several administrators, teachers, and community members volunteer for jury duty. Feedback was immensely positive, and we hope to bring the program back for the next school year.
What was your favorite part of the process?
Definitely presenting in front of the judge, our hard work.
That was the best part?
Learning about the
Yeah.
court, the justice system.
What surprised you from what you learned?
I think the roles that we played in the courthouse was
Yeah.
pretty surprising too, that there's a lot more than just like a jury and then like all the other normal stuff. Like there's definitely other stuff that is incorporated in it as well.
Was it funny watching the attorneys who you worked with actually be the defendants and in some cases be the kids?
That was
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
You had some great attorneys working with you. Like, you guys actually got to work with those guys?
Yeah.
all of them?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, you're very fortunate. That's awesome. Do you guys think you might want to be a lawyer one day?
maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, it was really fun
Great.
to see. what
It's a
it's
cool
like.
experience.
It really is, yeah.
What would you tell other kids that are thinking about joining?
They should.
Definitely do it.
To definitely try.
It's a really fun experience.
It's a good experience. You learn a lot of like new skills, especially like
Public speaking.
public
Yeah.
speaking and all of this stuff. And I think it's a valid experience.
It really pushed us, like most of us, out of our comfort zone too.
Yes, that's the key, is getting out of your comfort, and expanding, just instead of staying stovepiped in your little area, just to push those boundaries. And this is a great time to explore while you're in high school, middle school going into high school. So it's a great opportunity for you, so.
To be somebody that was sitting on your jury, I will say that I was super impressed with every single one of you and how you conducted yourselves. And you all presented a really good case. There was lots of discussion as to guilt or innocence, or you have a lot to be proud of. We're definitely proud of you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you did a wonderful job. I was there on the jury as well and did a wonderful job. And I thought it was a great experience for all of you as well.
So, anything else? No? So thank you so much for coming in tonight. I would look forward to hearing your experiences. I highly thank the advisors too, as well as coming and presenting to us. We welcome this because we want to celebrate the good things that our students are all doing. So thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right. You ready to go? Oh, yes. All right, next we have the FY24 preliminary proposed budget. I want to start off by saying that this has been a process that started back in October and November with members of the leadership team. We've spent the past 2-3 months going over each of the submissions, line item analysis, and we're at the point where we can present a very preliminary draft to the committee and the community. At the end of the presentation, we'll go over timelines of what's going to happen in February, March, and April. But I want to start off by, this is a preliminary proposed budget. It provides a snapshot of where we are at this moment as we prepare for FY24. The next slide is our mission statement, and as we read it at the start of all of our meetings, it drives the work we do, what we believe in, and what we stand for, and I think it's important to have it as part of the budget process. When I started here 3 years ago, we created a blueprint with the help of community members, students, faculty, and staff about our improvement priority areas, and they are academic excellence, community partnerships, the well-being of all, local and global citizenship, and growth mindset. And we kept those 5 things in mind as we built the FY24 budget. I've had this slide the past 3 years, and it's our goal to provide, at minimum, a level service budget for the FY24 fiscal year. Level service, that language means what we have this year, next year. My goal, and it may be a lofty one, is next year to change this, to say our goal is to provide a real needs budget for our students, because although this gives us the same services that we have this year, next year, it does not include everything that our students and our staff need. And we need to start making that shift from presenting a level service budget to a real needs budget for our students in our community. What have we done in the past few months? Well, we used the blueprint as a guide. We met with members of the leadership to review and discuss priorities. We did a line item analysis to maximize resources, and then we did another line item analysis, and then another line item analysis to make sure resources were maximized. Mrs. Keegan's done a great job looking at revolving funds and grants to offset the budget, and again, priority was placed on maintaining the minimum, the current level of services to our students. There are a couple big budget drivers as we look at the FY24. We've added 4 positions that currently do not exist to the FY24 budget. Those 4 positions equal the amount of $226,000. The first position is a guidance/school adjustment counselor at the middle school. Our current middle school adjustment counselor is servicing 300 students. She has 31 on 504 plans. 18 of those students receive direct counseling services. Middle school is such a tough age. So many of our kids have significant trauma histories that she's working with. She has BVT applications, and I know it doesn't sound like a lot.
It's a lot.
But it's a lot. 3/4 of our students apply to BVT, just like 3/4 of our students are applying to colleges. It's like doing the Common App in the 8th grade. It's a lot. She does a lot of small group counseling.
She's wonderful.
One person cannot handle the caseload. She's pulled in 101 directions. We need another person in there so Kayla can continue doing those Tier 2 services, and we can have someone else in there do some adjustment counselor work, but also start building that guidance piece and that counseling piece, that career planning piece, as we get kids to bridge between the middle school and the high school. So that's the first position. Second position is the addition of a Stars and Stripes teacher at the high school. Stars and Stripes program has students from the ages of 14 all the way through 22. In the ages of 15 to 18, we're working on helping students get diplomas. Once they turn 18, we're looking at transitional services, vocational services, getting kids to be able to function, get jobs, and be successful in the workplace. One person, one teacher cannot do that job. We need an additional person to help create that vision and implement vocational sites and find the vocational sites and experiences for students. They need to look at building those transition plans, and those transition plans don't start senior year. They start in 8th, 9th, 10th grade. You got to start planning early, and that takes some time. Working collaboratively at the high school and within the district to create internal vocational experiences for students, and then work with outside agencies to make sure that once students turn 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, that they have the outside agency supports so that they can succeed. Third position is a STEM teacher for the primary school and the elementary school. And this does a lot. We've increased Project Lead the Way at the middle school and high school. We've added that STEM component there. We all see the importance and the job market in STEM. We want to start the youngsters young. We want to get them excited in the early ages. The benefits starting that STEM program for students at a younger age is incredible. It adds a 5th special at the elementary school. One of the real cool things it does at the primary school is by adding that 5th special, it'll allow all 4th grade, all 4-year-old full-day preschool students to get specials, to have access to art, music, PE, STEM,
Huge.
and library every single day. And that's an awesome benefit to our preschool students. I don't know what year it was, but a few years ago, we were at 1.5 teachers at our preschool. We're now at 3. Our enrollment keeps going up. The associate or staff are doing a wonderful job. To be able to add specials only enhances the program. And then finally, an additional grounds/custodian. We have 332,000 square feet to clean. We have 9.5 custodians. That's almost 35,000 square feet per custodian. The industry standard is between 28 and 31,000 square feet to clean. The additional 0.5 custodian would help us do that. We also, people don't realize, we have 40 acres of land. 40 acres. That's a large, across 2 campuses. We have a 0.5 individual that does all the grounds and maintenance, 4 hours. So what ends up happening is when something happens, we pull our facilities director to go and help. We pull custodians from inside the buildings to go outside to help. So that additional grounds and maintenance would allow us to better keep our buildings clean for students and staff, but also allow for the exterior campus. On the next page, we look at 4 different bullet points. 85% of our budget is salary. We have 224 full-time equivalent employees. Increases from one year to the next is almost $900,000. This was a real interesting number that I want to include. In FY24, out-of-district special ed tuitions increased at 14% from 23 to 24. The average over 13 years was 1.83. Last year's increase was 2.54. So we went from 2.54% increase to 14% increase, a difference of $175,000. That's a significant impact on the budget. Textbooks, $156,000, and again, everyone knows this, anyone who's been to Market Basket, Stop and Shop, Home Depot, Lowe's, who has oil or propane come to the house, has seen the dramatic increase, the drastic increase in the cost of everything. We're not exempt of that. So we've seen those increases here in schools. So those are some of the big ticket numbers as we look at the FY24 budget. So on the next slide, we break things down. So as of today, probably about 4:17 when they left work, our FY23 general fund appropriation, so what the town gave us last year was $14,608,089. The town's FY additional appropriation at 2% is $292,162. They've given us this time a one-time appropriation in order to help fund some contractual obligations at $165,067. So the total FY24 town appropriation is $15,065,318. Our preliminary proposed budget to the school committee is $19,120,023. Obviously, every year we need to use grants and revolving funds to offset the operating costs. At this point, we've allocated $2,979,216 to the budget, which brings our preliminary general fund budget net offsets at $16,140,807, a delta of over $1 million, which is a 10.49% increase from where we need to be. So that's where we stand as of February 1. From 23 to 24, that's where we stand at this point. Before I move on to the next slides, because I know there was a lot of information, are there questions?
I just wanted to bring up that you had mentioned about the grounds person. And I think that's so critical now, especially because our buildings are aging. So I think that if that ever was to come up as an issue, I mean, how do you justify not having people to maintain things when it's just going to cost us more money in the long run? So I think that's so critical to really keep in there.
I think all the positions we are adding are absolutely needed and warranted and will benefit all of our students.
They're critical.
They're absolutely critical, especially,
it's-
there's not one of them that I can look at and go, well, they're all, I love, the preschool teacher in me loves that the littles are going to get access to the STEM curriculum because it's so critical. It's not just about STEM. It's about the way that they learn to think,
And
and
it's
that
not only-
transitions into everything that they do.
And it's not only STEM, it's phys ed,
Right.
Yes.
it's music, it's art, it's all the specials,
It's wonderful.
which is awesome.
Gives them a lot of exposure before kindergarten.
Correct. And they're learning a different skill set, and they're using their brains differently, so I think there are so many, and again, I could probably, if we had more money, we could add to this list dramatically, but right now, these are the things that really have jumped out in my time here through conversations with Ms. Keegan and with members of the leadership team. These are the things that are really important. Not that lowering class size isn't and adding other positions or other sports aren't, but right now, this is a critical need that really jumps out at us. We started doing this slide last year, just six buckets, it's 5 buckets. I asked Mrs. Keegan to break down our budget into 5 buckets for people to see where our money goes, where our resources go. So if you look at our percent of overall general fund budget, almost 85% of our budget is salaries and other compensations. Contractual services, that means special education tuitions, building maintenance, things that we are contractually obligated to do, come up to another 10%. Utilities, you have to heat your building, you have to pay electricity, that is almost 1% of the overall percentage of the general fund budget.
Yeah, the net.
The net.
The net, to be clear, yeah. It's net.
So really, if you're looking at where else can you cut from, you have to heat your buildings, you have to have phones, you have to have cable, you have to have internet, you have to have electricity, you have to meet your contractual obligations, you have to pay people.
Absolutely.
You're left with not a whole lot to cut from. Supplies is about $670,000, and then other, which includes professional development, subscriptions, licenses, things of that nature, is another $145,000. So I think that does a nice job for people at home watching, kind of capturing where
Where does our money go?
where our dollars are going. So we are cautiously optimistic that we can close the budget gap with a combination of additional reductions through line item analysis. We're gonna go back and look and say, okay, where can we cut back? Can we go and call that book vendor and say, can you take a little bit off? So we need to continue doing that to come down. Possible additional use of revolving funds. As the year goes on, we're more and more comfortable potentially allocating more resources, and then a possible increase in the town's allocation beyond the 2%. Things are continuously evolving. These variables will become clearer over the next few months. Every day, Ms. Keegan comes in with her fingers crossed, hoping nothing breaks, hoping we don't have a snowstorm, hoping that we don't have to dip into school choice funds to offset the FY23 budget.
Can I just add, just a quick question, Paul, for anybody that might be watching. So the town gives, and I know the answer, but like the town gives us 2% increase every year. Can you?
Explain that?
Yes.
So-
I stopped, Courtney. I
Yeah,
stopped.
it changes each year.
It changes, it'll fluctuate.
So, for years, we were at 1.5% increase. I don't remember if we were ever below 1.5.
I think one year was
One year.
more,
I don't have it with me, but I have a printout that
when we
has
went
it,
over
yeah.
the cliff.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then last year and this year, in
0.5%.
23 and 24, it's at a 2%, a 2% increase over our appropriation fund from the year before. So that's where we're at right now. So that's what that 2% is.
No, thank you, I appreciate that. Just for people that are watching that are like, well, you know, the electricity bills are going up, and this is going up, and that is going up. Why is this not, this is what we have to work with based on what we have right now at this point in time.
And although we need to advocate for our students and for our staff and for what we all need, we're also one part of a town, of a community.
Right.
That involves police, fire, highway department, emergency services, library, senior center. We have to be mindful of that too. So if we're taking additional resources, it means it's being removed from somewhere else. And we got to be mindful of that because we are a community.
And we're a small community
We're a
with
small
small
community.
tax revenue, so, you know, without additional state aid, this is where we are.
Correct.
Yeah, that too.
So what are our next steps? We have one meeting this month. We will do an update on Wednesday, March 1st at our next school committee meeting. We are going in front of the Finance Committee on March 14th with this information. And then we have our final public hearing where we have to get down to that 1% appropriation on Wednesday, April 5th. And then finally, our annual town meeting is on May 1st. So I'll come back to the school committee on 2 more occasions, on March 1st and again on Wednesday, the 5th, with an additional update. We'll do a budget subcommittee meeting at least once to have further discussions on this. But these are what the next steps will look like. We'll go back as a leadership team and again, do what we said, line item analysis, go back and look at additional resources and additional grant funds and additional revolving accounts to lessen that delta. Questions?
Pretty straightforward.
Pretty straightforward. I just want us to get more money from the state.
Yes.
But we're mindful, it's a community.
We are part of a community. We are part of a town.
community, and
We have a new governor, it's gonna take time for her to set her
Yes.
priorities
And set the budget.
and set the budget.
the biggest thing is the budget, and then getting the cherry sheet. Without the cherry sheet, we can't.
Yeah, that's a big issue.
That's the biggest
Big
thing
issue.
to our, because it would help demystify what we're programming for FY '24 if we knew those numbers.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
it's going to be delayed this year, so that also puts us in a limbo, because we have to be able to plan for that too as well. So just
Right.
trying to inform everybody at home, so we are mindful, so.
We are still looking for more money, but we're just being mindful of the money that we have currently.
Correct. And I know
Anything else?
We're gonna do the CPAC update at our next meeting on March 1st. And that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you so much. Moving over to the school committee and subcommittee, the accounts payable report.
Sure. So I signed warrant 29 SCH 23 and 29 SCHL 23, warrant date 1/12/23 and 1/13/23. A total of 8 batches totaling a dollar amount of $139,163.85. And warrant 30 SCH 23 and 30 SCHL 23, warrant date 1/19/23 and 1/20/23. A total of 10 batches in a total dollar amount of $67,186.16. And there was no concerns other than how much everything cost today.
So-
It's a concern for everyone.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the consent agenda, we can review the June 18th, 2023 meeting minute notes.
Just one thing under superintendent's report, the preliminary 2024 budget presentation, should say FY '23 to FY '24.
Okay.
And then this is very minor, but under the school committee and subcommittee report, the third one down, warrant 26 SCH 23, and it should be in 26 SCHL. But other than that, everything looked fine.
Nice catch, Courtney.
Corrections noted. Anybody be looking for a motion?
I move to approve the January 18th, 2023 school committee meeting notes.
Motion made by Beth.
As amended.
As amended. Motion made by Beth, seconded by
Julie.
Julie. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Thank you so much. Moving on to the non-school sponsored trip to Disney in Florida and the use of the school building. Good evening.
Hello. So Miss Laura couldn't make it tonight, unfortunately, so I'm here for both of us. Okay. So we, I think in front of you, you have a copy of the full itinerary, but we did a little breakdown for you just because it's a lot of pages. So what we are seeking is approval to use the school buildings to run a non-school sponsored, just to meet with students, trip to Disney for seniors, members of class of 2024 for next year.
Okay.
So we have a proposal that we did with educational destinations, and then we just kind of made it a little shorter on the slideshow. So the first slide, you can see the estimated cost per student is $2,400. That is a high estimate, so there's a discrepancy. If you look at the proposal, it's, it says around $1,800 per student. That cost doesn't include the flights, so we're just really high estimating. We won't know what flights are until we get a little further down with the travel agency, so we were just high end. That will also depend on number of travelers, hotel rates, and optional extras that we decide on. What it definitely includes is round-trip air transportation between, we'll use the school as a meeting point, school and airport and hotel once they get to Florida. 4 nights in Disney. It also might be 5 depending on rates and days. A 4-day park hopper pass, they can go to all 4 parks. Money for meals is included in there, so they get a gift card to buy their meals while they're down there. Airfare, we also have overnight security so that the kids aren't roaming the halls at night of the hotel. So we have a security guard that comes on right at curfew and stays through till 6 o'clock in the morning, just
It's really good
watching
to know.
the hallway.
Thank you.
And we have a travel director that stays with us for the length of planning. And those are, the definite things we're including. Everything else, we kind of see how the price goes and what we can include. We try to always include like a group event for the kids so that they have a night together as a group. So then the next slide is expectations that we generally ask the students or require the students to follow. So we obviously, vapes, drugs, alcohol, tobacco, or any kind are not allowed on the trip. The chaperones will be checking baggage before departure with a guardian present. So we have a guardian bring their bags with the students. Chaperones go through everything, make sure there's nothing of any issue before we leave. And then those bags, once those bags are checked, they stay with us until we leave, so kids don't get them back. While we're traveling, the travelers are required to check in with their chaperones and follow curfew. So we have them, video chat with us so we know where they are, who they're with. They're required to stay on Disney property at all times and with at least one other student, so they're never alone. And we check in regularly every 2 hours. We're seeing them on video, we know where they are. We have our hotel room rules is if they're in a room with anyone who is not their roommate, they have to have the door open, so they're not allowed to be in a shut door with anyone who isn't sleeping in that room. And they can only sleep in the room they're assigned. We usually travel 4 per room, but there is options for students who want to pay more to have less people sleep in a room, so that's included in here. And we have everybody sign off that if they're caught breaking any of these rules, they get sent home at their own cost. So those are just general expectations we'll have the kids follow. And then the company that we have that the proposal is from is Educational Destinations. They have some of their own stuff. So any students, there's, their cancellation policy. If they cancel 60 days out, anything that can be returned from the suppliers is refundable. Less than 60 days, unless they can find somebody to take their spot, their money is gone. So they'll sign off on that all ahead. Airfare refunds obviously depend on the airline and seats and stuff like that. But travelers will have the option of buying travel insurance to cover all of that if they choose. And one of the nice things that we found with Educational Destinations as we were looking through companies is they actually give us an app for students or for the travelers. It allows them, the guardians, to manage all their sign-up information right in there. We don't have to have any of that passing papers situation. They can put all the information, allergies, they make their payments right in there. And it also allows us, while we're on the trip, for location information for the students that have the app on their phones. We will know exactly where they are if there's any type of emergency. It's included in the app. So they'll have access to all of that, and everything will be online. All the payments will be online. All of the information will be online, and we won't be passing any paperwork back and forth between travelers and us. And we have a tour director who will come in if we are allowed to use the building and have that initial meeting, launch everything, and will be with us for travel. So that's kind of how they operate as a company. And that's all of that. Obviously, there's, this is like a very detailed day-by-day itinerary that they've given us. But we just thank you for considering allowing us to use the facilities to hold meetings with parents and travelers for a non-school sponsored trip. And we will be traveling hopefully in April of 2024.
How many chaperones do you have?
So we try to, it depends on how many students go. We usually travel with at minimum a 1 to 10, but we like to do a 1 to 6 just in case there's any emergencies or any situations like that.
Is this a new company that you're using?
This is a new company that we're using.
Go figure.
And the reason why is, so when you're saying passing paperwork,
Oh, I just mean the students don't have to give us information about allergies and stuff like that. It just goes right into the app and then we see it directly. So we don't have to have parents fill out a form, give it to us. So my student has this food allergy. They put it all in on their own. We don't have to, do any of that entry. They're just going to have the app in the company. It will go directly in. And the Miss Fleury and I will have basically it's like the tour guides thing, and we'll have a master, all the allergies will be right in there. It's just less.
and as well as like payments to the school will no longer be
The school
part
has
of.
nothing will go through the school at all. Everything will go, the travelers will work directly with the travel agency.
So but
That's
that's a
wonderful.
significant.
So it's the
That's
the school's out of
significant.
it. Yep.
So,
Yes, this will be a
Non-school
non-school sponsored.
right.
This is more
I
like
just
figure
want to make
those,
sure
like,
people
EF tours.
understand
Yeah.
that the payment can't come into the school.
Right.
But I like the fact that, for privacy, we're not having all this paperwork out there with all the students' different medical conditions and everything else. That's huge, right? So,
I think this is great. My question is, because we're saying it's non-school sponsored, so what
Correct.
about a child that has a disability? Are they going to be able to access this trip?
So this is not in any way sponsored by the school, so that would be between the parent and the travel agency and however, things like that, but it wouldn't be worked out any way, type of way in the school. It's just an extra trip outside of everything.
Okay.
Even though you're looking for chaperones, I'd be perfectly fine leaving my kid with the two of you, with Miss Floria and you, because you guys are awesome.
thank you.
And I know it has nothing to do with this, but I love seeing you here, because you're always like here for the kids, and I love that about you.
No, I'd agree. I just know we had a family that reached out with concerns that their child couldn't access this trip, so I was just wondering kind of what we were doing.
So this is,
This is wonderful. You guys have done a lot of work. I'm just, in my mind, I'm thinking that we have kids that are part of the class of 2024 who won't be able to go on this trip.
So this would no longer be considered a senior class trip.
Okay.
Just an outside trip, not
Okay.
school sponsored, not affiliated with the school in any way.
Okay.
The wording was simply intended to limit it to that age group, but not in any way school sponsored.
Any further discussions? Be looking for a motion?
I move to approve allowing Catherine Malo and Sheilyn Floria to promote in school a 2024 non-school sponsored trip to Disney in Florida, and to use the Douglas High School for parent meetings for this trip.
Motion made by Julie, seconded by?
I second.
Seconded by Beth. All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstained? It's all good to go. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Next, moving on to the technology data specialist. We're going to review job description approval and the rate adjustment.
Yes, so we recently had a staff member who resigned, actually in November, after being here for 3 years. And the IT director, Mr. Calabrese, did advertise, posted internally, posted it externally, had a number of candidates. None of them were interested because of basically the current hourly rate. But aside from that, we also wanted to bring to your attention that actually when we first hired someone, we had someone part-time. It was really more clerical in nature, and it has expanded quite a bit, because as you know, over the years, we've purchased loads of Chromebooks, which is wonderful. We got that, the COVID money, the only good thing about COVID, and iPads and things of that nature. Also, data reporting requirements have increased and things of that nature, and that position takes care of that, among a number of other things. So what we did do is we did provide I did come up with a job description working with Mr. Calabrese, and because we didn't have one before, so we wanted to have that approved this evening, but also to review the rate. So currently in FY23, for that position, full-time position for the technology data specialist, step one is at $15.54, and that means, and that's just above minimum wage, and that means anybody starting off would be starting at that rate. Step two is $17.38, step three $18.97, and then step four $19.25. So Dr. Vera and I met with Mr. Calabrese, kind of looked at a number of things. So we recommended a rate basically that's $1 an hour less than the network technician position. So that's where we came up with those rates, just looking at, just from Mr. Calabrese meeting with people and just not getting, they were looked at the rate and basically were like, what, are you kidding me? So to be honest with you. And he is really drowning. We really want to be able to, and we need to be able to have somebody who is taking care of those vital things that need to be done to keep our school district running with regard to technology needs, data needs, along with what our network technician also does for the entire school district. We basically have the IT director, we have a network technician and the technology data specialists. That's for the entire school district, especially with the number of iPads and Chromebooks
So right now, we only have 2 people in our technology department.
Correct.
as far as doing the nitty-gritty.
Okay.
Although there's a lot of nitty-gritty that Mr. Calabrese takes care of as well.
For school.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think the real page, if you look
Yeah.
at the second page of the job description, you really see it jump out that this position started as a nuts and bolts, some basic data entry information, and it has really expanded. This person's doing DESI, submission of reports,
Can't mess that
SIMS,
up.
you can't mess it up. They're maintaining integration between iPass and all of our systems. They're doing things with TeachPoint. iPass is our student information system. We do our attendance, our report cards. We have all of our staff information in that student information in it. Google, emails, NutriKids, help with MCAS, provide first-level IT support to teachers, especially over at the middle school. This position has expanded so much since it started, and at $15 an hour, you can't find an IT person
And I know
in the
that actually,
Commonwealth.
just personally myself, I'm doing the end of the year report because I got an email from DESC because they look at the crosswalk, they expect it to match with everything that I put in on that huge report, and then with what gets submitted with EPIN. And we had to look but to be honest with you, Zach really wasn't doing that, because Donnie used to do a lot of those things. But then everything is expanded for the IT director as well. And
then
then
we
there
had
was another
COVID and we were all
situation.
remote.
Right, and then all the other things as well. And USDA has come out with more things as well for school lunch, believe it or not, that's required as well. So we thought it was perfect time at this juncture where we have this, in-between time here to drop the job description and then review the rate. So if the school committee was amenable to this, the annualized amount for the current FY23 step one is $33,447. So the annualized difference would be $13,864 for this year. But this year, we're already, more than halfway through the year, so it would be about half that amount as far as affected the budget this year.
And you said that this was $1 less than another position we already.
Yes, that's actually
Okay.
Mr. Villamenre's position, the
Well,
network
I-
the network
yeah, but
technician.
yes, I think,
Yes,
okay.
yeah.
No, they're worth their weight.
Good, and everybody likes them.
No, you guys are worth your weight in gold, so. I think
Does anyone have any additional questions?
Just out of curiosity, I'm just not going to change anything, I'm just curious. So when you're looking to fill this position, is there like a certain, I probably could have read it on the next page, I'm guessing. Are you looking for like a certain, there it is, it's the
Yeah, the
qualifications, so I'm
qualifications,
good.
Yes.
Maybe if I had read it.
Yeah.
Just so you can hear, I'm sorry, could you
That's
repeat
okay.
that question?
I was just asking about the qualifications, but I just read it right now. It's like,
Okay.
it's a high school graduate, bachelor degree preferred. So I mean, like, you're asking for somebody that preferably went to college and paid money and,
yeah.
I think it's a fair proposal. I would say more money, but I think this is a fair start. That's all.
Absolutely. My only question with that was just making sure that our employees that have been here and that have been loyal to us, just making sure that we're compensating everybody fairly, so I think that's great. So I move to approve the job description for the technology data specialist and approve the following new FYE 2023 hourly rate for the technology data specialist position. Step 1, $22.18. Step 2, $23.75. Step 3, $25.34. And step 4, $25.73.
Motion made by Beth, seconded by?
Julie?
Second by Julie. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstained? All good to go. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Success, and hopefully we're able to recruit, so. Next is Schools Business and Operations Manager Report.
I feel bad, I haven't really had a chance to do any really great reporting these days, lately. But I do have some reclasses for this evening. I have that's what number 6. FY 2023 classifications number 6. And basically, the first one is moving one from it was actually done in the student activities line item. It actually belonged to the principals. It was a principal's membership, because actually you do sometimes have a student go. This happened to be one for the principal. The next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them, I believe it is. We are moving from teacher quality to FY22 to teacher quality FY21 to use up the remaining funds in FY21. And then we have, we're using, we had to move from the Blackstone Valley Education Fund grant to the, to miscellaneous donations. And that's it there. Does anyone have any questions? All set?
I'd be looking for a motion to approve the school committee meeting reclassification number 6 on February 1st, 2023, in the amount of $4,604.13.
So moved.
Seconded by?
Me. I almost said my name.
Seconded by Julie. All those in favor?
No, not by Julie.
I mean, seconded by Beth, sorry.
No,
why
I'm
you
sorry,
gotta
who
say your
made, who
name.
made the motion and who seconded it?
Julie made the
Okay,
motion.
thank you.
Because we didn't have number 6. That's the reason why, if you're wondering why.
Okay, thank you very much.
I wrote that down. So, motion made by Julie, seconded by Beth. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstained? Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
Not at this time.
So we're going to enter into executive session, and we won't come back into formal session. We will
Reconvene.
reconvene, and we won't reconvene. We will go out from after our executive session. And the executive session is to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiation with a non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel. So I'd be looking for a motion to enter into executive session.
Julie Mulder, aye.
Beth Bergstrom, aye. Oh, yeah. Do we have to?
We should enter into executive session at 7:46 PM. Make a motion.
Roll call?
Beth Bergstrom, aye.
Julie Mulder, aye.